Dick Johnson campaigns in car number 17, still doing quite nicely. He's been feeling the pinch just a little today, as most of the V8 drivers have been, of course, with tyre wear at Amaroo Park. Dick carrying race cam for us.
Mate.
You're having a good day, mate.
Holy cow, mate, you don't believe what this is like. I tell you what, even Peter Perfect didn't have time to do his arm exercise out the window.
I tell you what would you say if I said to you they were thinking about doing a 24-hour race at Amaroo Park?
Mate, you have got to be kidding. What for?
Yes, it's a bit hard on the V8s. You guys really do carry a handicap here against the smaller...
It makes it pretty hard because, like, you're never straight round here. And when your tyres are off, you're not even straight going up the straight.
Tell me, in a perfectly set up V8, how long does it take for the tyres to go off when you're racing here?
Probably 10 laps, and you really start to feel them wander away. See, bear in mind that this car is the same weight as Brock's and about 200 odd kilos heavier than Jim's BMW, and probably about 450 or 500 kilos heavier than that little 325.
Would you say this is the...
You know, all we need is 5 guys your size in the car with them, and they'd be about right, wouldn't it?
Watch it, Smarty. I was going to ask you, is this the toughest racetrack in Australia for the cars and for tyres, V8s?
In Australia it is, but boy, in temperatures like this, that Wellington track in New Zealand was unbelievable.
Well, Dick, I think we better leave you to it because there's still quite a few laps to go before the finish, and you've got your work cut out for you. We can see that.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Okay, pal. Catch you later.
Okay.
Dick Johnson, who we've been following with Racecam.
The gap between Francevic and Johnson is now 19.5 seconds, and Robbie Francevic has been doing extremely well in this race, running his own race well ahead of the field. And there he is, coming through the sweeper at the back part of the course, just as Dick Johnson negotiates the front straight, so it's becoming a third of a lap or more lead now.
Well, technically, for the times that Francevic has been doing, 42 of 52 completed, 10 remain, obviously. At Francevic, with tyres, and he had tyre problems last year, but he's been able to do this ever so casually today.
Yes.
Here's one, Kevin Bartlett, I think, Starion going left, right. And in the meantime, of course, Robbie goes through in car number 10.
Brock has gone round past Francevic and unlapped himself, and I think he's up to 8th position at the moment, so that pit stop didn't cost him quite as much time as I thought.
Well, it might be fresh for the final sprint, but at least the tyres, judging by what Dick has said, will probably be off in 8 laps again anyway.
This car's done some work now, hasn't it? It won the Wellington 500 a couple of years ago, 85, back there when Michel Delcourt came out from Belgium and partnered Mark Petch and Robbie Francevic. It did last year's Touring Car Championship, the AMSCAR Series, the Endurance Series, the New Zealand Series early this year, and starts off another bout in 86.
The interesting thing is, of course, that Francevic last year won his first round of the touring car title at Symmons Plains, where, of course, our 7 cameras will be visiting next weekend for round 2 of the 86 series. But, of course, the Brock Commodore showing out so strongly, and George Fury in the Nissan. It's more of a power track, not as many turns and twists.
The Commodores will be really good at Symmons.
I think there'll be a crackerjack race at Symmons Plains next weekend.
9 laps remaining for Robbie Francevic. In the Volvo, about 340 odd brake horsepower at his disposal, and using it nicely.
I think the champagne corks will be popping in the Francevic tent tonight with Mark Petch.
Provided the turbo doesn't pop.
I don't think it will. It's been running strongly. They deserve a good win here, and I tell you, this is the toughest little outfit in Australia to win on.
Weather conditions, in fact, played into their hands today because they were forecasting clear skies and very warm temperatures. It's still moderately warm, but overcast, and I think they'll be happy about that.
Crosby in trouble there in car 20, so it's not been a good day for the General.
Well, Graham Crosby, who gave this a good shot, heading back slowly to the pit area. He'll be campaigning in the Australian Touring Car Championship. Now, this is the Better Brakes 100, and the brakes are certainly going the way of Robbie Francevic. Car number 10, increasing that lead all the time.
Jim Richards has managed to elevate himself above Tony Longhurst as well, which is a tremendous effort from him in the 635. and you can see that Francevic now really in cruise mode. The car not leaping around at all, not sliding. The driver really doing a good job. And major support this season from Castrol.
He had a lot of support from Swedish companies in New Zealand for the 2 races over there. So Robbie Francevic, car number 10, just doing it nicely, very comfortably ahead, but I'll tell you what, I think his times have gone off the boil the last couple of laps.
He's just coasting now. His lead is in excess of 20 kilometres. There's Terry Finnegan in the middle of the Amaroo Park complex with steam and water and oil and all sorts of things coming out of the Huon Valley Springs entry.
I think it sprung a leak. Okay, heading up to the top of the hill, the Kiwi lands. Robbie Francevic continues to lead the Better Breaks 100. Second place being held down by gentleman Jim Richards, and third place to Queensland's Tony Longhurst.
5 laps remaining in the Better Breaks 100, first round of the Touring Car Championship at Amaroo. Will that be enough time for Jim Richards in 62 to bridge a very big gap on the race leader, Robbie Francevic? Not unless something goes wrong with Francevic, I feel. Although, I tell you what, the lead is not as big as it was.
No, I noticed that before we went to our last break, that Jim was closing.
It's about 120 metres, as opposed to, I reckon it must have been 250 in the mid stages of the race.
Wilco, you must have your glasses off. It's the best 120 metres I've ever seen. It's 6.7 seconds.
Well, anything can happen in motor racing, and probably will, kid. They head to the top of Bitchapave, and Jim Richards, the man who dominated the Australian Championship for 85, with 7 out of 10 wins, in second spot at the moment today, and it's gliding a little bit coming out of the corner. Robbie Francevic of New Zealand continues to lead. Peter Brock's trying to catch back a fair bit of ground as well as they head down towards the lake area.
Well, I just wonder whether or not Francevic has got a problem with the Volvo, or whether he realises that he only has to coast home. Richards is certainly making a charge. We'll put the watch on them again. Francevic goes by our commentary point. At last count, it was 6.7 seconds. The gap is now 4.5.
Wilco was right.
Now it's 120 metres.
Dropping into the loop area, Robbie Francevic, has he got tyre trouble? He is going to have to guide this home, and gentleman Jim is closing all the time in the BMW 635. Here's Francevic. It's part of the circuit, the turbo getting away nicely, heading down to the left-hander at Honda. Laps on his side, but you'll shortly see the familiar figure, the familiar sight of that black BMW of Jim Richards, 635. And Frank Gardner will be telling Jim you're closing at a couple of seconds a lap. But whether or not Robbie can tweak it, heading up the hill, here he comes, and there's the gap. 2 laps remain in the opening round of the Australian Touring Car Championship. Francevic, the turbo, turned up, going for broke.
And the gap is now 3.5 seconds. He's pulled another second in that lap. And can Richards make it 12 out of 12 at Amaroo?
And problems here for Gary Rogers in the 23 BMW. Some smoke pouring out of the car as Peter Brock will come around the outside of him. Oh yes, that doesn't look good at all for Gary Rogers. Brock, being time, we should point out, has been able to come back from 8th, past Charlie O'Brien, and presently is up to 6th. Okay, Gary Rogers exits with a lap and a half remaining. And here is Robbie Francevic. He will take the last lap board next time around. Richards closing all the time behind him.
The gap now 2.2 seconds.
2.2, so he's been pulling him in at probably 1.8 a lap. The last lap board is about ready to come out. 1 lap remains in the opening round of the Australian Touring Car Championship. Gentleman Jim Richards, the 85 champion, is on the boil. The man in front of him is Aucklander Robbie Francevic in the Mark Petch Turbo Volvo.
Well, there have been 2 great drives in this race, and they're running first and second.
Yes, very gingerly through the corners. I would think maybe as a tyre problem.
Yeah, I'd say tyres are shot on the car.
Jag Parts number 24, K entry, parked up out of everyone's way. Francevic treating this almost like a ballerina on ice as he comes down. Look at Richards closing all the time. There's some lap cars coming into play. The last half lap of this race, and Francevic comes out of the bend, and Richards is on the boil going after him as they come down now to the final. A right-hander, a slow car coming up. Frank Gardner steps up, waits to see who's going to win the championship opener. Robbie Francevic of Auckland comes into the final corner in the Mark Petch Volvo. Richards closes, but going across the straight to take the checker. It goes to Volvo Power. Second place across the line is going to go to Jim Richards, and a great finish to Richards. And third across the line is going to be Tony Longhurst in the second of the JPS BMWs. A great drive from Robbie Francevic in car number 2. Let's have a look at the placings. Francevic the winner in the Volvo 242. Second place to Jim Richards in the JPS BMW. And third place going to Tony Longhurst in the BMW 325.
Robbie Francevic, congratulations.
Well, I haven't seen you guys all weekend, but you're here talking to me now, and I hope you will for the rest of the rounds.
Well, this is right into the business, isn't it?
Certainly is.
Hey, you did a great job, but it was getting close to the finish.
Yeah, well, that's what you call a good judge race, isn't it?
Jim, you stuck with the 635. It was the right choice, almost bought it off.
Well, I was wondering there whether it was the right choice, but yes, no, it's probably a bit more development in the little 3 car, and it'll be the one to go for sure. But Robbie, congratulations to him. He drove a top race. Did exactly what I would have done.
Tony, great drive by you as well. You were giving Peter Brock and Dick a bit of hurry up there for a while.
Yeah, really had a good workout. I wore my back tyre out, and that caused my problems for the rest of the race.
Okay, thanks, and congratulations again, Robbie Francevic. Hope you've enjoyed our telecast of the Better Breaks 100 from